Over the last few weeks, I've read stories about two big handmade shops being closed down permanently, one on Etsy and one on Amazon. If these large shops can be shut down, then the platforms are not playing favorites, and they really will shut anyone down. Now, if you've read on Facebook or read in the forums, you've seen how quick people can be to rush to conclusions about why these things have happened. So I want to be really clear that this episode is not about making judgments or accusations about any of these shops. I don't know the specifics about why these shops were shut down, but what I do know is that as a business owner who relies on my handmade business to support my family, my heart does go out to these shop owners as they try to figure out how to move forward. But I do think that while this is at the forefront of a lot of sellers' minds, that it's important for us to discuss ways that you can protect your shop. So in this episode, I'm going to discuss the top ways for you to protect your shop and keep it in good standing. We're also going to talk about how to make sure that you can reach your customers if you were ever to find yourself in this unfortunate situation.
Welcome to the Handmade Entrepreneur Life. I'm your host, Katherine Hampton. Together we are journeying through life as handmade entrepreneurs. I started my journey in 2013 and have successfully built a business that generates multiple six figures year after year. My goal is to share strategies and techniques that I have learned so that you can skip the stress and jump straight to success. Now let's get started.
As an entrepreneur, your business is your sweet, sometimes grumpy little baby that you watch grow every day. The last thing you want to happen is for Etsy, Amazon, or wherever you sell your products to ban your shop and put your baby in permanent timeout. But I've seen time and time again that even after hiring an attorney, shop owners were still unable to reverse decisions. So today we're going to go over the must-follow rules to keep your shop in the clear. So must-follow rule number 1 is provide accurate listing descriptions. Why is this important? Well, you want your customers to fully understand what they are ordering. Then, when they open their order, they get exactly what they expected. A great way to get a bunch of bad reviews and have your shop shut down is to have customers who feel like they didn't receive what they thought they ordered. So provide measurements, photos with several angles, and detailed descriptions of the materials. Write the descriptions like the customer cannot see the photos. Then, when you take the photos, pretend there will be no descriptions to read, so you must show all of the details in the pictures. Will you have customers who don't read or customers who don't look at all the photos? Of course, that will happen. But by being as thorough as possible, you significantly cut down on confusion, disappointment, low star ratings, and claims being filed against you. Must follow rule number 2. Communicate accurate ship times. You've got to be clear and accurate about how long it will take to make the customer's order. Yes, we live in an Amazon Prime world, but most customers know and understand that they're ordering a handmade item and they are willing to wait as long as you tell them how long they've got to wait up front. If you quote them 3 days when they place the order, but it takes 2 weeks, you are opening yourself up to negative feedback and claims. It is especially important to give yourself extra wiggle room around busy times like Christmas. It would be much better to quote 3 weeks and ship in 2 weeks than ship late and leave the customer waiting. In the online world, once the customer starts waiting over the expected amount of time, they are starting to question if they've been scammed and worry that they're being taken advantage of. Then, you know what happens? You guessed it, bad reviews and claims. I found in my time as an online seller that the customers, they do experience a bit of anxiety shopping online just simply because they have to trust someone they cannot see. They have to trust that you will do everything you promise in your listing. They have to trust that the products look the same and that you will ship it, that you will actually ship it. Not just that you will ship it on time, but also that you will actually ship it, not just take their money and run. So by showing that you are meeting these expectations, you're instilling trust in your customers. Trust is vital. So set deadlines that will allow you to maintain that trust. Must follow rule number 3 is provide professional customer service. Interacting with your customers in a professional way and genuinely. Emphasis on genuinely. Addressing their concerns goes a really long way. Please, for the love of all things holy, do not curse at or insult your customers, no matter how hateful they are being to you. Please be professional and courteous. Everything that you say to them can be screenshot, posted to social media, and then used against you. If you don't have much experience with customer service, that's not a problem. The phrase, treat others as you would like to be treated, I'm sure we've all heard that in our life. It pretty much sums it up. Be kind. Now, if you'd like to study it a little bit more, here's some research and psychology behind it on how to handle customer service relations. There's a great book that I think that anyone who works with the public should read called Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. It is highly recommended to anyone that answers emails, communicates with the public, any sort of customer service. You've got to check it out. Now, I think that it should be a standard that you set for your personal brand identity to be kind and courteous to customers. But Etsy and Amazon will most definitely shut your shop down if they believe that you are treating their customers poorly. Now, this does not mean that everyone gets anybody that complains about the tiniest little thing gets a free product and a refund. You need to have sound policies that you follow and make a genuine effort to remedy situations in accordance to those policies. But please keep in mind that unprofessional behavior with customers is a fast track to getting your shop shut down. Must follow rule number 4. All right, this is a big one. Avoid copyright and trademark infringement. This is typically the big one that does people in. Now, I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to provide specific advice on this. If you have questions, please contact an attorney. What I will tell you is this. If the popularity of the design or product you are selling hinges on the popularity of someone or something else, it's likely infringing. For example, let's say Harry Potter fans are going to buy a product because it reminds them of Harry Potter. That would be a no-go. If it is created by someone else and they haven't given you permission to use it, that's also likely infringing. An example of that would be taking a photo from Google and then maybe tracing it or copying it and selling it. Don't do that. The copyright and trademark world, it has a lot of moving parts and there's a lot to keep up with. So I do understand how people get confused and there's a lot of misinformation about it, and I don't think that it's fair that people get attacked so viciously on the forums about it, especially if you're new and just learning all there is about what's okay and what's not. When I first started my shop, I got dinged for selling sorority items. I literally had no idea that I needed to pay a fee to do that. I mean, and it's an exorbitant amount a year to get a license to sell things that have the sorority letters on them. Had no idea. So that was my first thing. Oops. It's a learning process, but you have to pay attention and research what you're selling. That was my first, like, oh, okay, so this is something that I have to pay attention to. And now I really pay attention to it. If you need trademark help, there is an attorney named Joey Vitale, and he is a great resource for the handmade community. I'm not an affiliate with him. I've just worked with him, and he has been super helpful. So I recommend that you check him out if you need any help in this area. Must follow rule number 5. This one always seems to shock people because you don't really think about it. So pay attention to this one. Don't sign into your shop on public Wi-Fi. Another thing to avoid is signing on to your shop via shared Wi-Fi. Okay, so why is this? If your Etsy account somehow gets linked to another Etsy account that is not complying with platform guidelines but has also used that Wi-Fi, you could get shut down and have to go through the process of proving that you're not connected to that shop. This can be costly and time consuming. It's far less expensive in the long run to use your phone data or a personal hotspot than to have your shop shut down for using free Wi-Fi. It's just something to keep in mind. It's something that I have seen that has caused big shops to be shut down. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you're sharing your Wi-Fi password or you're signing in at the local coffee shop. All right, we've covered the 5 must-follow rules. Now, what do you want to have in place just in case your shop does get shut down? While a lot of coaches default to a standalone website when asked this question, I'm going to have to politely disagree with that. When you're first getting started, it doesn't always make sense to build a website. Websites take a lot of work and patience to drive traffic when you have a brand new business. I mean, even if you are a business who has been around for several years, it still takes a lot of work to send traffic, let alone someone who has never been heard of. So personally, I would recommend that all new handmade businesses start on Etsy. The platform's easy to use, the fees are relatively low, and the traffic for handmade items is built in. Most people know that if they're looking for a handmade item, that they need to look on Etsy. So as your traffic and your customer base increases and you learn the basics of running a business, you start building that rhythm of running a business, building a website can become a goal that you work toward. A website will become an important part of your business plan later, but it doesn't have to be the first step. In the meantime, I think it's a better use of resources to start collecting emails from the start. In fact, if I could turn back time and go back 6 years ago, I would have started collecting emails at the very second that I hit publish on my shop. But you want to create an opt-in to encourage customers to join your email list so that you can communicate with them no matter what. Even if you're not doing anything with it yet, you want to start collecting those emails until you are able to devise a plan for your newsletter. The opt-in can be a freebie, a discount code, or an instant download, whatever makes sense for your target audience. Now, we're not really going to go into newsletter building and all of that today. I just want you to start thinking about it. Now, in addition to an email list, starting a Facebook page or an account on Instagram is super important too. If you disappear off the platform, you want your customers to be able to find you. Now, one of the shops that I mentioned in the intro, they were able to quickly redirect customers to their new website because they had an email list and a social media presence. They quickly made announcements about working on a website and told their customers how to reach them. Yes, they may have lost business in the interim, but this ability to communicate with their customers allowed them to redirect customers in an emergency. The key is having backup ways to build connections with your customers so they can reach you if, God forbid, your shop were to disappear. I know having your shop shut down is something that none of us ever want to think about, and we hope it never happens. But it is very important that you prepare for it. If you have any questions about today's topic, please post them in the Handmade Entrepreneur Life Facebook group. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen. Bye. For an in-depth training on how to tin up your competition and provide value for your customers, check out cupcakeinsider.com. It's 100% free and hosted by my friend Renee Christie. No strings attached.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.